Doctor Who, The Mind of Evil, the sixth story of the third Doctor, is written by Don Horton and starring John Pertwee, Katie Manning, Nicholas Courtney, Richard Franklin and John Levine. So the title was going to be The Pandora Machine, Man Hours and The Pandora Box, then got changed to The Mind of Evil. So the story got filmed in Kent and the prison got filmed in and around Dover Castle, and the story got so excessively over budget because of the use of the helicopter, and the missile was real but non-operational. It's a Bloodhound missile from the RAF. Apparently this is Katie Manning's favourite story that she did, which I can see why. It is great. So the story opens with the Doctor and Joe driving Bessie up to Stangmore Prison to look at the demonstration of the Keller machine. The bit where the Doctor's smiling and waving at CCTV camera and officers are coming out is so funny. The prisoners there were so restless, so during the demonstration, as the Doctor keeps interrupting Professor Kettering, they tested a machine on a prisoner and the Doctor knew there was something evil about it. So in the unit HQ, Chin Lee complains to the Brigadier about criminal committed against the Chinese People's Delegation, saying important state documents have been stolen from the General Chen Takes suite. So as she leaves, she burns the document and Brigadier finds out that something isn't right, judging by the time she phones. Arthur Linwood is found dead near the Keller machine. The Doctor kept trying to explain how dangerous the machine is, so later he looks at the machine, it activates, the room looked like it's in flames, pretty horrifying. So Joe ran in and saved the Doctor just in time. Then Mike came in and told the Doctor that he has to come with him. And I do enjoy the Venetian moment. Because he's heard the murder, he agrees to go with him and gets Joe to make sure that no one goes in that room. Meanwhile, as Sergeant Benton keeps an eye on Chin Lee, but she uses the power of mind control on Sergeant Benton as she leaves. So Sergeant Benton passed out as she leaves. So he goes to tell the Brigadier, but he was mad at him, poor guy. And there's an engineer revealed to be the Master in disguise, and listen on radio units phoning each other. He's so scary. In the Chinese delegation, Brigadier tries to question Fu Peng, but he's just ignoring him, and Fu Peng and the Doctor seem to be enjoying themselves, drinking tea, so they left as they got work to do. Joe and Summers are in the medical. Officer Mailer came in with a gun holding hostage. The Master orders Chin Lee to kill Alcott, so in the evening she gets Alcott in the room to sit on the chair. She turns the light on and he sees the illusion of Oriental Dragon, which scared him. So the Doctor, Brigadier and Fu Peng came in and turned that illusion off, and Chin Lee passed out. No one has died, which is good. Fu Peng found a device on Chin Lee's neck and said someone must be punished, and he left. So in the next morning, the Doctor woke Brigadier up and brought Chin Lee with him to find some answers from her. While Sergeant Benton and Mike Yates are at Missile Base, the Doctor finds out that Joe has been kidnapped. Throughout this part, there's a lot of wild fight going on. In the prison, Joe managed to pick up a gun. Yes, go on, Joe. She puts Mailer in the cell, but then the Master came and set him free. Joe, Summers and Barnum hears an alarm. Then Joe gets taken hostage. So the Doctor came back to Stanmore Prison, so Mailer took the Doctor hostage and sees the Master again. He gets tied up on the chair and sees the illusion of monsters he's defeated in the past, including a Dalek, which is pretty effective. Like I said, John Pertwee is fantastic as the third Doctor. It's pretty funny in the beginning when he waved at the camera and smiling. Katie Manning is great as Jo Grant, and so are Richard Franklin, Nicholas Courtney and John Levine as Captain Mike Yates, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and Sergeant Benton. Roger Delgado is fantastic as the Master. William Marlowe as Harry Mailer is a prisoner, and he did so well playing the villain. Peek Sem Lim as Captain Chin Lee, an officer with People's Liberation Army who gets hypnotized by the Master. She's great, absolutely talented actress. Christopher Kum as Fu Peng, Chinese delegate to the World Peace Conference. He's great as well. Raymond Westwell played Victor Camford, prison governor in charge of Stangmore Prison. Michael Sheard played Dr. Roland Summers, a doctor in prison at Stangmore Prison. Neil McCarthy played George Patrick Barnham, who's a prisoner and got tested on the Keller machine. Simon Lack played a scientist, Professor Charles Kettering, who's the Master's assistant on the Keller machine. Clive Scott played Arthur Linwood, a medical student. Fernanda Marlowe played Carol Bell, who works at UNIT and also reprised the role in The Claws of Axons. Everyone did a great job. The effects is great for low budget. Keller Machine is a device created by the Master to give people illusions to see something they feared, and I think it's pretty cool. I love to see those devices in Doctor Who again. So the Doctor passed out after seeing illusions, and there's prisoners moaning. After Dr. Summers gets taken out of the cell where Joe is in, the Doctor gets taken there and rested on the bed. So they bring back Dr. Summers to examine his heart. The scene where the Master sees the illusion of the Doctor is freaky. I wonder if the Master is scared of the Doctor by any chance. So in the next morning, there's hell of a battle with UNIT and prisoners, and Sergeant Benton gets knocked out and Mike Yates gets taken away. I like the scene where Joe throws a tray of breakfast at Charlie and the Doctor knocks Vasper out with a tray. So they went to the prison governor's office, seeing soldiers and the Master outside, and they're thinking no one's going to find them there. So later on, the Doctor and Joe went to Process Theatre. Mela and Vasper found the Doctor and Joe as they were going to take them hostage. There was Keller Machine disappearing and reappearing all over the place. So after the machine disappeared, the Doctor needed to stop the Master from launching a missile. The Master kept Mike Yates hostage, so the Doctor and Joe meets up with Barnum. By the time they signalled for helicopter, they get taken to Mela, then get taken back to the cell. Sergeant Benton has recovered from head injury. The scene where the Doctor and Joe were playing chess and shushing the Master, that was actually my very first sight of classic Doctor Who. I think that was back in 2007 or 8, and at that time it was in black and white, and my stepdad pointed at John Pertwee saying that's the Doctor, and unfortunately I wasn't interested at the time. So then after a while I saw bits of Peter Cushing Dalek film, then 3 of Tom Baker episodes, Robots Part 1, Pyramids of Mars Part 2, and The Android Invasion Part 2. And I really didn't enjoy it at first because I thought it was too silly. It wasn't Doctor Who that I know, and I thought it wasn't in the same universe. But it should have been obvious because of Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith. But then I collected those DVD files. There was a page with 10 faces of the Doctor when David Tennant was the current Doctor at the time. My mum showed me that page and saying those are the Doctors, and I was like, oh wow. I obviously recognised Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant. I did recognise Tom Baker and sort of John Pertwee. And as for the rest, I didn't know any of them at the time. Plus my stepdad's dad told me about the clothes that previous Doctors wore, and I thought it was pretty interesting. But yeah, it makes me realise that it's the same universe, so I watched the classic series and I really love them. And the rest, as they say, is history. So back to the story. The Master wanted the Doctor's help to fix the machine, so he did. While fighting the illusions of past monsters, he goes back to the cell. Brigadier pretends to be delivery van driver and got his unit soldiers breaking in. Mike got himself free. Mela gets the Doctor and Joe at gunpoint and orders them to help him escape. So by the time they reach to the stairs, Brigadier shot him. Hurrah! So after the shooting, the units have taken over the prison. The Master plans to fire a missile at London. So he phones the Doctor and they make a deal. If the Master doesn't launch a missile, the Doctor will return him his dematerialization circuit. We also learn that the Keller machine doesn't activate when Barnum is close to it. So they went to the warehouse. The Master asks for his circuit back. So Barnum got the Keller machine close to the Master and he's passing out while the Doctor stops a missile. As soon as the machine stopped, we get a sad moment where the Master knocks Barnum over and he dies, and it hit Joe really hard. So him and Joe went in the helicopter and flew off. In the end, as they're having a coffee, Joe is grieving over Barnum. The Master phones the Doctor that he's got his dematerialization circuit back, and the Doctor isn't happy that he's stuck on Earth with Brigadier, while the Master can have the fun travelling around. So yeah, I really enjoyed this story. It was existed in black and white as original colour is gone, so the DVD release in 2013. Part 1 they have a mixture of hand colorized keyframes in conjunction with manual and automated colour and interpolation, and the rest in decoding of chroma dot signals recorded in the monochrome film. What did you think of this story? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching and take care.